introductions.
Yeah. So I have to close YouTube if I'm right. You're running the show, Kim.
Another couple months
Oh,
and I'm done.
really?
Yeah. People.
Really?
Where they go?
And then they're gone.
Yeah.
We are now fully live.
Okay, welcome to the Parks, Recreation and Harbor Committee meeting of October 9th, 2025. We'll start with a round of introductions. My name is Kim Boucher and I am the chair.
Michaela Pelkey, committee member.
Tracy Ouellette, Park and Recreation Director.
My name is Liam Reardon. I'm a member of the public here to update people about some new science in town.
Leah McBride, committee member.
Pamela Crop Anderson, committee member.
Debbie Jean-Pedro, Assistant Parks and Recreation Director.
Joe Nelson, Athletic Facilities Manager for the school department, or Supervisor and General Manager of Soy Arena.
The title keeps getting longer.
Well,
So we do not currently have enough members here for a quorum, so we're going to adjourn our meeting and continue with a public conversation, open conversation. So we're going to start today with Joe.
hello, as I said, I'm Joe Nelson and I'm here to talk about Sawyer Ice Arena as we ramp up and try to get ready to open for the season this year. So we're located on Union 13th Street, right next to Mansfield Stadium, and it's been there around 30 years or so. So most of the things over there are 30 years old. So the process, it's a sand floor. So our process of making ice would have been, we'd be normally building ice at this time, looking to open. Usually it's from mid to late October to the end of March is our season. As we were preparing the process to get ready, we did notice that the chiller out back that's 31 years old, it's been rebuilt once. We've put money into it. There was some situation where some people did some damage to it. Luckily, the insurance is kind of going to kick in and going to replace it. But as we're doing it, as we're waiting for this process, we have a rented chiller on its way. I had the great news of today being told it should be on site tomorrow. It's going to take a couple days to hook it up, and then we get the process of trying to freeze the dirt sand floor and build up ice. I'd love to sit here and be able to tell you exactly when all this process and daily and be done, but we're driven by a lot of factors. Even this change of 83 degrees to today would have made a huge difference in building that. So we had hoped to open like October 25th. I've let people in the hockey and community know that it'll probably be pushed back. Of course, in the hockey community, that's great because the other ice arena that rents ice has a football game that weekend and a home UMaine hockey game. So that's not great for there. But as soon as the chill is going, this process will start. And it's not quite a 24/7 operation to try to build ice, but we're going to do our best because it's a situation where basically you try to put a layer of water down, and then when it freezes, you're able to put another layer down. Some days that's 3 hours, some days it's 5 hours, some days it's 2 hours. So that process will be building the ice and then painting it, which usually in the past has always been a week at least. just for a tidbit to know, we try to get 1.5 inches over the painted ice. One Zamboni going out, driving around until you empty it, it's about 1/32 of an inch. We can't drive the Zamboni out on the ice because it has spikes until we build up enough, about 1/2 inch, so we have to do that by hand, so it takes people and stuff, so. Been a lot of tweaking in the hockey community, as you maybe have read or noticed. Some high school numbers have gone down, but actually I'm being told that youth hockey numbers are going up. So Bangor and Brewer, in my first tenure now, are combining teams. So actually, if anything, that's gonna cause us to have to rent the ice more because it's gonna have a full JV team, which Bangor didn't have in the past. There's also, so our high school teams that use Soy Arena will be the Bangor Brewer team. Pioneers, which is the area girls hockey team where all the community high schools will use it some. John Baptist High School in Hamden. If the numbers can need be, they have enough numbers, then there'd be JV hockey and stuff. Maine Junior Black Bears is our youth hockey tenant, so they use it. And I'm being told that they have really strong young numbers growing up, so trying to get them on the ice in the evening. When there was talk about a potential new arena or potential two, I will just tell you that it's very difficult for us to do any of our learn to skate program or public skating or figure skating weeknights there with just a single sheet of ice. So we do offer public skating, usually midday, with a figure skating, and then weekend public skating. If we ever were blessed enough to have 2 sheets, then we'd be able to do some weeknight stuff. Our learn to skate program in the last half dozen years has been growing. We're at the point now where we have to cap numbers normally because we don't have enough instructors. So we use a lot of college age students, UMaine students, Husson students, trying to have a go, but basically that's for ages 4 till we have some adult time. We have Elizabeth Houghton that runs a learn to skate program, so we block a 3-hour block on Sunday evenings. We've always looked at trying to do some weeknight stuff, but it's just so difficult because of ice, trying to find available ice. That'll be starting in early November. And that's, like I said, I'm pretty proud of that program. I was lucky enough 5 years ago or so to go to the national meeting. And they were quite proud of how our building. We've actually host a skating show or 2 for in-house people. And then we also have some United States figure skating contests. So we bring judges in, they wear their outfits, play the music, and it's pretty neat. And we've tentatively kind of scheduled those for this year, but my best guess is we're gonna be opening around the beginning of November if everything goes right, and then pretty much be open 7 days a week, right straight through. We are blessed. As I talk, we need workers, which is always difficult. So we have a Zamboni that basically we do the ice every hour. So we've got to drive, clean, do all of that stuff. We're blessed to have Nick Fiore, full-time worker here for Parks and Recreation, Drew Bean, some experienced. It's hard for me to just, I'll work. I've driven the Zamboni 20 years and I would pick those 2 guys 100 times to do a sheet of ice for the games, just from experience, just from doing it all the time. But I will tell you, in the last 3 years, I've had to drive the Zamboni much more than I have in the past. Just staffing is always a little bit of an issue. We do the best we can. We have a skate shop and then the Zamboni people and try to keep the place clean. It is showing its age a little bit, some wear and tear. We paint, we clean, we put in some new things here or there, but the facility, so I grew up in Bangor, graduated high school in 1989. When I left for college, all of a sudden there was a bubble there when I got back home, and it was a bubble at one time. Then Bangor Youth Hockey built it with just sides, so it was open to the elements. Then they'd enclose one side and then another side. So when I started this job in the mid-90s, it was a little bit in the state it was now, with locker rooms on the opposite side. So we now have locker rooms, bathrooms. It's actually much, much better in a lot of aspects that it was. I had mentioned that the chiller is 31 years old, so we are gonna fix it. It is gonna hopefully get up and running and stuff, but that is something that when you have the 31-year-old piece of equipment, you kind of hope and pray at times, but we have service techs that come in, kind of go over it and do that thing. Last year, as I think some of you may know, we put some money into fixing the ice mat, which had never been done in my 30 years. So it's an enclosed system where all the cooling fluid goes through it. We actually had a successful year as far as that holding up, but that is something that they were able to come in and fix a lot of the stuffed tubing. It's supposed to go, but we noticed we didn't have great flow in some areas, so that held on. I expect it and hope that it runs well this year, but that's kind of a synopsis of what we run. The one thing in a skating community that probably in a perfect world for me, we'd be able to do some public skating evenings. And with the schedule, we just can't do it, like I said. We also look, there's men's groups that want to use our arena. I usually rent philosophically to the youth hockey first, so they get what's left over. And we're pretty scheduled after school from 3 o'clock to 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. The old days of 5:30 a.m. every Saturday and Sunday, some of you may know, because I know there's some people with family members that play hockey. It used to be a lot of local teams, so when they played at 5:30, it might be Bangor against Brewer. Now the next closest team for even the house teams are like Waterville, Augusta, and there's some travel involved. So we normally start at like 8 or 9 in the morning on Saturday or Sunday, but we try to rent the ice as much as we can. We offer a lunchtime stick and puck for some adults, and that's something I usually will put out there when I know the staffing situation. As you know, I said I'm taking care of soccer fields and some athletic facilities, so it's hard for me to be in 2 places at one time sometimes, but usually twice a week, a lunchtime that some adults can come over and play stick and puck. And then until the high school season starts, when I don't rent the ice, usually that after school block or 2, we'll have some stick and puck. So a lot of the high school age kids will come over and start to prepare for their season. So once we get into the regular season, we don't have a ton of stick and puck scheduled. When we get to the school holidays and stuff, I'll look at the schedule, and if I could have some scheduled there, I can. To be honest with you, sometimes that falls through too, because school vacation weeks, we can rent ice to hockey teams at different times of the day. So very excited for the season to get going. Expect it to be successful. Expect things to get up and running soon. Again, hope that everything works out well. So I don't know. Any questions, or Tracy or Debbie, if there's anything I missed?
Are the Pioneers or they call themselves the Titans, is that the boys team?
Yeah.
Are they practicing in Brewer at all?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's now that basically what I talked about, how it could more ice using Soy Arena, is that there's one slot after school over there for the Brewer rink, one here, and then a before school slot that they'd rather not take. So if Bangor practices in that second high school slot, it's going to be filled by one of those teams, most likely. And for years, Bangor High had a varsity team and a JV team, and they always tried to get the JVs 3 events a week. A lot of it's been number driven. The last year or 2, Bangor really hasn't had a JV team, so it hasn't have to. Hamden practices before school. That's their slot. They would love to jump in whatever's available at night, which they've done, or in the afternoon, which they've done. I'm not going to bounce youth hockey for that high school. And then to kind of add to that, so yes, they'll be going to both rinks, and I think this game schedule, Class A is like next Thursday and Class B is next Tuesday. So I'll be working on the high school schedule the next couple of weeks, because even after they get it, then they'll tweak it some when they realize what conflicts they had and different things, but that process is ongoing now. I work closely with all three schools. And now with she brought up the Titans, so that's that Bangor Brewer team. They'll be using Brewers rank for some games, Bangor or some. I've been led to believe the kids in the community and the people wanted the senior day at Sawyer, so I take that as a little bit of a positive that they want.
So are both sheets of ice, the one in Bangor and the one in Brewer, fully utilized? I mean, they're just maximum
Yeah.
usage?
To the point too, where I'm communicating with the scheduler for Maine Junior Black Bears. They've been going to Piscataquis quite a bit.
And just to wrap, I don't know if you have a question for Joe specifically, but back to the question, and Joe's mentioned it, alluded to it a couple times. This is why the second sheet has always been included in our concepts. And Joe alluded to it. Your questions are alluding to that. There is a demand out there for that extra sheet, hence why we've kept it in and continue to keep it in the concepts of the new facility. And again, Joe alluded to the schedule, that early morning ice is what's available and they're coming here for it. So again, that's why we keep the second sheet.
And I was asked that quite a bit in the community. Geez, Bangor Brewer combining, why would we need two and what's going on with hockey and stuff? And it changes every year. I don't get too caught up in July and August. I hear so many rumors. These teams are combining, this is doing that, but something as simple as UMaine, which the youth groups need to use. Something like the women for years practice like 8 or 9 a.m. in the morning. Well, they moved it to a night slot or afternoon slot. So now the men may practice 3 to 5:30 every day, the women 5:30 to 7:30. That takes away a huge chunk of what youth hockey. And it's hard because things change. And that's why, depending on a lot of that stuff, so that's ice at Alphon, I've been told, is more difficult for the youth groups to find. So that's, again, when they come to me and say something as simple as when I schedule the 18 home high school games, that tweaks youth or youth practices. So those usually play in the evenings. If there's a JV game, which we try to lock them up following it, then that impacts practices. I try to do the best job I can at trying to maximize the rank as the best we can. And just another thing I hear not negatively. We're weather driven, obviously. If a high school game is scheduled, it gets bumped. Well, now it's gonna bump something else if they have to reschedule. The ADs and I think have a good relationship that I don't just do that willy-nilly. I ask them, give me 3 dates that work for you, and I look at what has the least amount of impact. So if it's a game, high schools are away, or youth hockey would rather high school games play Friday and Saturday as much as they can. So when I meet with the 2 area ADs tomorrow morning, please take as many Friday, Saturdays as you can. And I think I've been doing this a while. I think we try to do the best we can. And again, the high schools, we're happy to have them and they're happy to have a rink to play at.
Great. I mean, as somebody who's been playing on a C League team and has 8:30 and 9:40 games, I would love to see another sheet of ice in Bangor. So maybe I don't want to take a nap before I go play hockey. So thank you. Are there any questions?
Thank you for all you do.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks. And I think it's even, this may be, I hope appropriate. I had a prior engagement, so I was gonna.
You are dismissed.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
See you later.
I forgot to, we did not have minutes from the last meeting to approve, so, and we don't have a forum anyway, so we're gonna move on to Liam.
Great. So I'm here to talk a little bit about the Kenduskeag Stream Trail. As most of you probably know, there are some concrete pedestals that were put in 2008, which was part of the original Heritage Trail with interpretive signs and photographs. And those are essentially all illegible now, various states of disrepair. So UMaine history class in the fall of 2024 researched and designed a new set of 9 signs. So I brought 2 examples with me. These are the 2 that would be furthest upstream. So in a sense, the sign on the right is sort of the introduction to the trail sign. And it's the one trail sign that has a single arrow pointing downstream because the next 8 signs are all downstream from it. There are still standing a different style of sign on the trail that are sort of green and black, and they're a vertical piece. So there's one by the Sea Dog, and there's one at what's called Gateway Park, sort of where the 14th Ave extension is being built. And those have stood up to the weather better. So those are staying where they are. We're just replacing the concrete pedestal tops. The trail itself was first built in the 1970s. It was part of addressing the raw sewage that still went into the stream as late as the 70s. And part of the negotiation about that led to the construction of the trail. 30 years later, signs went in. 20 years after that, the original signs are dilapidated. So here's an example of the signs that my students developed. These are printed on foam core, and they're going to be on display at Bangor Public Library from now until Saturday, November 8th. I've got this little pass around sheet that'll be taped up in the library so people can scan the QR code and provide feedback. So we're hoping that people find typos before we print the more permanent signs, or, you know, in this day and age of very contested feelings about history, we could get some public comment that would, you know, want to see other sorts of changes. And so this is sort of a crucial part of what is called public history, that you're not just telling the public what they should know, but you're trying to engage them and think about what in our past deserves to be remembered. So we'll see what happens. The signs will be essentially at the top of the stairs of the main entrance, and then they'll do a loop sort of through the history section of the library, since that's where we're likely to get our most interested audience in history-based signs. And a couple of the students will come back for Saturday, November 8th from 2 to 3. We're just going to do an informal conversation with anybody who shows up. And some of these students have graduated and moved away. I think I have at least 2 or 3 of the 9 will be there to talk about their signs with anyone who's interested in giving us feedback.
At the library.
Yeah, they essentially, well, we're still kind of deciding. We might move the signs up to the lecture hall.
But the facility, the talk will happen somewhere in the library.
Yeah, and we're not even really billing it as a talk. It's more like just an informal discussion where you could have sort of one-on-one chit chat with the students who made the signs.
Like, refresh my memory a little bit on the group of students. We talked to you about it a couple times. So many of these students weren't necessarily familiar with Bangor or the history of Bangor. And for me watching their initial presentation of these, it was interesting, the enthusiasm, and they really get into it. They really get into the project.
So it was extremely satisfying as the teacher of this class.
And what is the class you were teaching?
So the senior history majors at UMaine take a sort of intensive research class, sort of the capstone of their undergraduate experience. It rotates the faculty member who teaches that, and so there's a different theme that's selected by the professor every semester. And I chose rehabilitating the Kenduskeag Stream Trail. So Tracy is right. The students not, this is kind of a 15-week crash course of do research, collect information, think about what you want to put on a sign, get it done. And, I have done a lot of editing work on these and additional research, but there are actually 8 signs were completely done by the students. The first sign mostly is done by me, but it just so happens there were 8 students in the seminar. We had 9 signs, so that's the way that worked out. It was a really significant collaboration, particularly with Greta Schroeder, who's the history librarian at Bangor Public, and Matthew Bishop, who's the curator at Bangor Historical Society. We also work pretty closely with the Zillman Art Museum. So the first sign is kind of a nice example of some of this collaboration. The image on the far right was a screen print made for Bangor's bicentennial in 1969. So there's a copy of it owned by the Zillman Art Museum. Also a copy hangs in the history area of Bangor Public. We got permission from the estate of the artist to reproduce it on the sign. The three black and white picture, the three other images on the first sign, the one on the left is from the Bangor Historical Society. That's the construction of I-95 over the stream, which is visible from where this sign will be located. So you can kind of look downstream and say, oh, look, the highway wasn't always there. The middle image is a detail from an extraordinary 1875 map of Bangor that the Library of Congress has a high quality TIFF scan of it. So you can zoom in to a very small spot and see all the details. So that shows sort of the aerial view of where that sign will be located. And then the third image is a 1920 glass plate negative of the Flour Mill Dam, which again is where that particular sign is located. All the signs have a QR code on them. So you go from that to a website that's got more photographs, more text. The introductory sign includes a series of photographs of my students who presented on the project to the Historical Commission, the Cultural Commission. They ran booths at the Art Walk in the fall of 2024, again, with that goal of soliciting input from the general public. So
So I have a question, like, I just scanned that, so do people need to be there on the 8th to be able to have to
So the signs will be on display
over there?
potentially starting tonight.
Okay.
We're trying to find the easels and figure out how to put them up. But yeah, they'll be up for the next 3 weeks. And then the 8th will be sort of a closing event when myself and a handful of students will be there. And then that'll be when we take the signs down, and that'll be the end of the public comment period.
Yeah, no, this is great because it has all the questions, and it's really good for people to know that they have it all done, and you can have your comments on what to change, and if it's mediocre or excellent, it's good the way it is. It's great.
Thanks. Yeah, so again, this is the sort of QR code for public comment, and that'll be taped on the signs in Bangor Public Library, so people can look at them and fiddle on their phone and decide what they want to tell us about the signs, and we'll go from there.
I love that there's been so much opportunity for public input throughout this whole process. It seems like you've really made that effort to.
So that is really this idea of public history is really challenges some of the traditional norms of academic history, where the historian would go off in an archive and become an expert and then tell the public what they need to know. And the whole idea of public history is that you really work to get the public to participate in that. And that is really hard. I'm hoping the Bangor Daily News will run a story about this, and that'll help us get some foot traffic in to look at the signs. But if we got more than 20 people responding to the QR code and giving us some comments, that would exceed my expectations. So we're trying, but
We can help with that too. We
Great.
can help with that, within our department, because we have great social media avenues.
fantastic. Yeah, so it'll be, they're in the history area, so we can take photographs and spread those around. That would be great. The more publicity around it, the better. And I think this is really the kind of window, right? If people want to see any substantive changes, we want to hear about it
Yeah.
before November 8th.
For sure. Such a cool project. It really has been
Thanks.
such a cool project. And again, watching the students and that first walk we took, they've been up on campus. How long they've been up on campus? I've never
Well,
been down.
that is the best story. So these are all seniors, and this one student had lived on campus for 4 years, and he's from New Jersey, and he had never been to Bangor.
Oh, wow.
And
Mm.
kind of a shock to me.
Good stuff.
Great.
Thank you for coming in.
Sure, my pleasure. Thanks for your interest. I'm gonna take my signs away, but I hope you'll come check them out in the library
For sure.
in the next couple weeks.
Thank you.
So it's a good segue, parallel to what's been going on here, the Rotary approached us to, refer to as a legacy project for the club, I don't know if that they call it, but kind of that path. And one of their members also is heavily involved, Brad Coffey, heavily involved with the Commit Fit, event they call it Commit Fit Community now event, that just happened at Broadway Park. And the 10K run uses the trail. So we met with Rotary a couple of times and they wanted to focus project on the Condescate Street Trail and are willing to commit up to $20,000 to do that. So using our master plan, once again, they are going to work on different signage, more of a wayfinding gateway type signage along the trail. So we're working on that with them to start that project. So between replacing those interpretive signs, and now we'll have copies of them, for lack of a better term, so that if indeed they get damaged going forward, we can reproduce them quickly, which was one of the challenges with the ones that are down there now. Finding the files over the years was difficult. So Rotary's working on that. They're very excited about it. And then there'll be recognition of them as soon as we determine what's the best place for that quote gateway trailhead. You heard the reference to Gateway Park. That seems to be the most logical. There's a larger one of the former interpretive signs down there now. So that kind of makes sense. Parallel to those, engineering has been redoing a portion of Condescag from Gateway up 14th Street Hill Extension. If you haven't been out there lately, there is a reconfiguration of the intersection at Valley and 14th where you're essentially forced to pull perpendicular to 14th Street from Valley. There is a crossing signal there now. So while they were there, we asked them to reclaim the trail to make it sidewalk width from the bridge between Harlow and 14th through Gateway Park to meet what's going to be a paved sidewalk on the other side. While there, they installed 3 bases for us, they being CNC Lynch, so that we could add 3 of the lights that we've been using to light the Condescate Street Trail. So now Gateway, the parking lot of Gateway will be lit. So a lot of work, and in addition to that, staff has been down there trying to clear vegetation and reclaim some of the trail further up and so forth. So been some between the UMaine project, the Rotary project, so pretty good attention being paid to the Condescate Street Trail, at least to the point to Gateway. We've been working on the section up through Valley with the vegetation. Just time consuming because it's been a while since we've been able to do that. But we'll continue that effort, and between the UMaine project and the Rotary project, some good things happening down there. In addition to that, staff replaced majority of the planks on the pedestrian bridge and tightened those up. So hopefully that lasts for some time. So some busy stuff along the trail. And the Rangers have been keeping regular patrol of the area as well. Yeah, no, some good projects going on down there. Some good project. Probably one of the better. The Commit to Community event was the largest turnout they've ever had. They had, I want to say, upwards of 600 to 800 active registered for all 3 of the different events they did. Not all the folks showed up Sunday morning, but a large group doing that 10K along the trail. So, questions, comments about that stuff?
To Bacon.
Go to Dakin, different voice.
That's great. No. So Tracy and I sat down and met with the Friends of Dakin a couple weeks ago. Great meeting with them. Came up, I had put something together, came up with some ideas where we thought that would enhance Dakin Pool and presented it to them and they were just ecstatic and to move forward at least on coming up with like a proposal on what to give to them. So some of the things that we brought forward to them was the pool house itself is tired. I mean, it's been there, I don't know how long it's been there, that new pool house.
Dakin?
Yeah, I don't know that.
2004.
I was here in 2008, so 2004, so it's getting tired. You know, the trim boards and some of the siding is you know, rotting and getting, you know, it needs to be replaced. So one of the things is looking at fixing the siding, fixing the outside, painting the whole place, the trim, the outside, making it nice and welcoming as you're driving by and noticing that it's a pool over there. Some of the other things is, I think I mentioned last time that we just bought a set of stairs. It didn't get here until after. So when we showed them, it was like, why didn't we do this before? Dakin Pool only has ladders that go down, just straight ladders. And, you know, it's sometimes, you know, 2-3-year-olds can't go down those ladders. So now there's a way for everybody to get down with actual stairs. All the ladders are still remaining. It is a type of stair that's not permanent. We're gonna just put in at the beginning of the season and take out at the end of the season. It's just more of a commercial grade set of stairs, like you do in your backyard. You put a set of stairs in a pool. It's like that, but just more. Some other things we came up with is putting some features in there, like picnic tables, brighten it up, put some colors, some blue and some yellows and some red picnic tables in there. Picnic tables for adults, picnic tables for youth. So there's some of those out there. So, you know, these 3-year-olds aren't sitting on a picnic table and falling down because they can't reach, to encourage families to go. And another direction that we are looking into, not saying it's gonna happen, is putting a couple toddler events in the pool area. You go to Panko Pool or other pool, there's a 0 entry. There's a lot of those little water toys. So all ages can go to that one. This one is, you know, let's bring some toddler features to this pool. So it's something that is not in stone or anything, but we're looking into what can we do for those little 1-year-olds, those 2-year-olds that don't need to be held up in the pool in the water by an adult all the time. So all things that they were very excited to see. And so I'll be putting something together in the next month or so and bringing it forward to them and see what they think.
Is this something that they help support? I mean, like financially support, or you're just getting feedback from them because they're invested in the pool area?
So I'll have Tracy. That one.
60-second history. So the Friends of Dakin formed to raise funds to build the existing pool house.
Yeah.
Their staff at the time, the pool itself, the existing pool house, then it was in disrepair. We had to close it. We were going to do something else over there. Folks felt the need to keep the pool, hence the Friends of Dakin. So they had been fundraising off and on since 2004.
Mm-hmm.
The current group has both raised funds and has funds from the county, ARPA funds from the county to spend. And they're up against a timeline to do that.
Okay.
So the work that Deb has done is going to give them some concepts and ideas to spend the money. As Deb mentioned, they're enthusiastic about some of the things we talked about idea-wise. Deb's gone and done the research, taken the next step. Okay, here is $1 and cent that this adds up to. So that's where they're at. And again, I think the group is at a point now. unfortunately, the leader of the group passed away about a year ago. But I think they'd like to, at least for the time being, kind of hold it up and let things happen.
Utilize the funds and.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yep.
Nice. That's kind of where they're at. So again, as Deb mentioned, she got some good ideas there that I think they're enthusiastic.
So when that's done, and after they've decided, you know, what to do and what not to do and where to go with that, we'll bring it back here and let you guys know.
That's good. I think the only thing left to talk about is the Union Street Complex project update.
Busy out there. I don't know if we mentioned this, Deb was here last time, we added some fall adult programming out there that went well, very well received, and but not something we typically do out there in the fall. In addition to school, MAPS used it for both soccer and field hockey, in addition to our own programs we've been doing for a number of years out there. And significant lighting upgrade, I think we've shared with you before. So the lighting project, they were out there today taking polls. Field 3 is completely done and we've been using it, the new lights. Fields 2 and 1, and I'm only referring to them that way because that's the order they've gone in, they being the lighting contractor. They were out there today doing some of that final work, assembling the new poles, and we'll be finishing it hopefully by the end of next week. Pretty significant project, probably one of the larger capital projects we've done as a department in a long time. Along with that, at the same time, significant drainage improvement project. We're going to be resurfacing all 3 softball fields at the same time, doing at the same time, while having all these programs going on. So yeah, it's been busy out there. But again, it's $900,000 to nearly $1 million worth of improvements out there by the time we're all done. Most of that's lights. I will tell you, we've both been out there with the old lights on and the new lights on. And are you kidding me? You know, it's a big difference. And they'll be there for as long as we'll be around to worry about them. So that's what's happening at Union Street, and that will go on. We'll probably turn that facility off first couple of weeks in November. So busy place out there. Contractor doing drainage, working around contractor doing electrical, contractor doing infield. So
And soccer, working around contractor, doing infield, contractor, doing lighting.
yes. We wanted this done this fall because springtime is even worse time to do this kind of stuff. You're weather dependent. Fall is the time to do that. We'll get through it and it's going to work out. It's worked out fine. Our engineering department's been helpful as well to kind of shepherding some of these things along. So it's been good. Been good.
And I just wanna, just a little further because of the lighting and we don't have it on all the fields. A lot of our soccer teams, we have probably 30 soccer teams and we can't put them all. And it's after school, sometimes 6:30 to 7:30. There's no lights this year. Well, we couldn't count on them. We do have one set on right now. So thank to Bangor High School for letting us use some of their fields because they do have lights and they turn them on for our soccer practices. So just want to shout out to them. Say thank you.
I think that's all we've got. Anything from any of you?
Right, so I think if I look correctly, our next meeting should be November 13th, second Thursday in November.
Plan on that?
Guess I'll call a meeting to